There we go. All right. What is going on, everybody? This is an interesting stream here tonight. Hope everyone's having a good time. A good Saturday. I already see a bunch of you guys in the chat here. We have Saint Patty Mad. How you doing? We have Thierry Ben. What's up? What's up, Rachie? Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done a stream on a Saturday night. This is a different one. This is more just going to be a chill stream. We're going to talk about some things. As you guys can see, I have some beer. I have my roll of toilet paper because I am coming off of a head cold. So I may have to blow my nose a couple times. And then I have this bad boy here that I want to unbox because this just showed up this morning. And I want to unbox it because I'm excited as hell for this. But it's Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition. But it's been a wild week. I just MacGyvered this entire setup, so it may be a little bit rough. I have, if I look over to the left here, it's because that's where I have my computer screen, but I have my iPad here for the chat. And I hope it all just turns out well. Hope it all works. I have a mouse here to kind of potentially control stuff. But it's going to be a little rough. How's everyone doing? How's everybody doing? Bro's going number 2 live on air because of the toilet paper. You know what? It's easier to have a roll of toilet paper than a box of Kleenex. I just find it easier because box Kleenex will run out so fast and they're thin. Toilet paper I just can like wrap around my hand as much as I need to blow my nose. But I'm coming to the end of it, so it hasn't been too bad today. But yesterday and the day before were pretty rough. I already got 58 of you guys in here, so just everyone heads up. This is gonna be a chill hangout stream. I used to do Saturday nights all the time, called Plumecast, and just go over the news and everything. But it's been my setup has changed multiple times, and I'm in the middle of moving, so I'm gonna be hopefully moving in the next couple of months. And hopefully, when I do move to a new place, I'll actually have a real place to actually film rather than just in the middle of my floor where everyone is going around at times. So that'll hopefully change. Then when that happens, I will hopefully be able to go live more often. Probably keep it on Saturday nights or maybe pick a different day, but we're going to do. All right. Got 67 of you in here. I'm going to rate maybe like 5 minutes and then we're just going to jump into this. But how's everyone's week been? It's been a crazy week with Xbox, with the Activision Blizzard deal. Get a beer out here with Jim Ryan. As you guys can see in the title, did Xbox win? Did they win after the decision so far from the CMA about the console parity stuff that they don't even care about, or not even console parity, just about console remedies. They don't even care about console remedies anymore. And that was huge news because that was one of the main things that they were arguing over and over again. And PlayStation and Jim Ryan, I think right now look very, very not very good. Not very good, because that was the CMA coming out and essentially saying, I think he got rejected like 7 times, I read on Twitter today. But yeah, it's been a very interesting week. What's up, Nikita? What's up, Sully? What's up, Dale? What's up, Kulo? I think the FTC will investigate PlayStation. No, I doubt it. I think the FTC is just going to come to a deal with Microsoft. I think like I've said in my videos, I honestly think the FTC, Lena Collins, just on like a power trip, trying to make, like, she wants her resume to show that she blocked a major merger, right, in the tech industry. And it's pretty obvious from everything that we've seen that like these regulators don't know anything about the gaming industry. Like I was saying in one of my videos this week, the conclusion that the CMA has come to so far with the documents that they put out on Friday about the console stuff, it's like most people who've been following the gaming industry came to these conclusions right away when they saw the arguments that Sony was trying to make. It took them this deep investigation because they just don't follow the gaming industry. They don't really understand it. And they're going to come to probably most of the conclusions that that logical, common sense, objective people have come to so far from all the arguments that we have been seeing. Yeah, sure. Like people on the Xbox side want to see this pass, and you have people on the PlayStation side that don't want to see it pass. But I don't know how on the PlayStation side of things you can objectively look at PlayStation's arguments and think that they are good arguments that are going to help stop this deal. But anyways, we'll get into that. We'll keep talking about that. You guys see my mess here. I got toilet paper, not for going to the washroom, but for my nose in case my nose starts running. I got Resident Evil 4. Who's played Resident Evil 4 so far? Anybody jump into it in the last? This thing showed up a day late, but I was excited for it. Let me know if you guys can hear me well on the mic too. Like I said, I MacGyvered this setup here. Last second. A lot of stuff going on here on my table. The JFTC. The Japanese Federal Trade Commission? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. Why? I doubt that they're going to investigate PlayStation. Why would they? They probably don't want this deal to go through, to be honest. Let me second here. I got to send the link to this to my wife. Okay. What do you guys think? What do you think's happened? Do you think it's over? Because one of the main things that not a lot of people are focusing on with what happened on Friday was it's strictly for console. And I think personally, from all the things that I've been reading, is that the cloud is where the CMA and the EU and stuff are more focused on. Like that's where their biggest worries are. Now, I don't think that like the deal's gonna get blocked, but I think there's already going to be remedies. I mean, all the deals that Microsoft has made, there's going to be some more remedies probably for cloud going forward. All right, but let me know what you guys think. We'll keep talking about this, but I'm going to jump in here because I've been waiting long enough to open this thing up. And again, let me know in the comments if you guys have been playing. Try to get this proper here. There we go. Let me know if you guys have been playing this. This just showed up today from GameStop. They were a day late, unfortunately. But that's cool. I wouldn't have had time yesterday to play it. I was playing some Diablo 4 beta yesterday. Oh, there's a number on this. I don't know how many of these they printed, but I have number 57,018. They print like 60,000, 100,000. I would say probably 100,000 of it. I like that. I love when they put numbers on collector's editions because why call it a collector's edition if it's unlimited? You know what I mean? All right, so there's the box. Looks like one of those like cachet boxes. There's the front. There's the back, everything that comes in it. Get this thing open. Flip cover. Okay, pretty cool box. What's up, everyone jumping in here? If you're just jumping in here, I just created this setup here, do an unboxing, just chill, hang out, talk about what's been going on in gaming this week, and unbox this collector's edition. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you played this yet, what do you think about it? Let me know what other games you're playing. Let me know what you think about everything that's happened this week with Xbox and the Activision Blizzard stuff and any other stuff that's been going on. Oh no, I already scratched the box. All right. Okay. Here we are. Ooh. Okay, that's cool. So right off the bat, presented with the game. Resident Evil 4. Not for resale. Yeah, I'll be more rare in the future. We got the steel case. Like me, my steel cases. Back. That's the front and the back. And then that is the inside of it. Pretty cool. Nice artwork. Nice feeling. Nice matte feeling. I like the matte probably better than the shiny. So that's awesome. Cool. First two things. What was the price? Way too expensive. I think it was 3 something in Canada. Forget what it was. I have to check what I got charged, but I luckily got like credits and stuff, so I didn't pay full price. But it was like 350, I think, even 39. I don't know. But I had credits. I don't know if I just revealed this code, but if I did, whatever. This is the downloadable soundtrack. Downloadable soundtrack. That's unfortunate. I was hoping it would be like a real soundtrack in a case, but it is the downloadable soundtrack. Let me see here. Downloadable sound. Dog is snoring in the background. Very loud. Redemption disabled. $600? 600 where? What part of the world is it 600? This was definitely not 600. That's next. Downloadable soundtrack. And then there is, you know what? There's this thing. The map. I will get this off of it. Wait a second. There's this guy. Map. Oh. Right, that's just a piece of paper. That comes with it. Kind of cool, but like the paper itself is just literally like a thin piece of paper. I wish it would have been on like a mesh or like a tarp. I don't know, something cooler than just a paper. It's literally just a poster map, which if I had a place to put it up, I would. Next up is the art book. Thin art book. So doesn't seem like there's that much in it, but I mean it's hardcover. All right, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. There's some. What if you guys want to see any of this? In case it may ruin the game for you, but I'll just flip through a couple of pages here. You got Ashley. Leon, you got Ashley. Cool. Louis. Louis. Villagers, the village square. Village chief. But that's it. It's an art book. Lots of stuff in here. Goes through like the enemies, goes through the main characters, goes through the areas. Boom. I won't show any more in case you don't want to see any more of the game. If you've never played it before, you don't want to see any of the enemies and stuff. I hope Starfield has a collector's edition too. If Starfield has collect, I'm definitely getting that. And I don't know what I would do with 2 collector's edition Series X. Is probably just keep tough because the Halo one's beautiful, but I feel like they may have a. I feel like they may have a Starfield one. Right. This is. So far, like the stuff in it hasn't been that great. It's been okay, but this is what people buy. Been really, really. This is why people are buying this, right? The Leon Kennedy statue. Oh no. You guys hear me now? Am I still muted? Oh God. And now we back. Yeah, it looks like we're back. Looks like the audio's back. Yeah, well, let me know, guys. I think the audio is good now. So if we're good, I'll just keep going with this. Looks like it's popping up. I won't touch the mic anymore. I'll just leave it. I think we're good now. Okay. I'm not going to touch the mic anymore. I'm going to leave it there. No more touching of the mic, but here we go. Here's the statue. This is the main event. Like, this is a big statue as well. The big statue. There it is. Bunch of tape here. Oh, nice. It is heavy. What I like to see. What I like to see. They cheap out sometimes on statues in these collector's editions. Like they're light. You can see that they put the bare minimum into it. This guy right here, you can already tell, has a hefty weight to it. Nice. Even the base is like decent. All right, so that's the base. Leon S. Kennedy right there on the front. See that? Leon S. Kennedy. Put that guy right there. You have pistol. Shotgun, of course. Shotgun. Then you got. Whew. Damn. I'm sticking plastic. Damn. All right, this is quality. The jacket's really nice. Hair, the face. Lots of detail on this thing. Boots. There it is. Damn, this is nice. This is why people would buy this thing. Like, this is the only reason in that whole package. Really, no other reason. But this is a nice statue. Like, hefty. You can tell it's like not shitty quality. See if I can get him in here without breaking him. You do this. One. What the hell? There we go. Got his gun in here. Boom. Got the shotgun. How do you hold a shotgun? Go. I think I did that right. And there it is. There is the statue that comes with it. Actually, very nice. Like, I'm quite impressed with the quality of this thing. Do a little spinorama for you guys, a little showcase. Little. Here you go. So that's it. That's the collector's edition. You got a digital soundtrack, you got the game, you got a steel case, you got a map. Is it worth the money? Hard. Like, everything in there isn't. Oh, we got the art book too. The art book's kind of cool. But this is what people will get it. I would say this alone, it's not worth the money. But if you is the only way to get this statue, maybe. But like, I would maybe this is worth like $200. I would say maybe 250. I guess the game itself, at least in Canada, games are $100. Like, this is $100 game, I believe. $79.99 or $89.99. I think it's $89.99 plus tax. So it's already $100 right there. This is at least $100 and $150 statue in Canada for sure. Probably 150, maybe even closer to like 180. So, it's not terrible value because this thing is actually really, really cool. So there it is. Yeah, that was like the main thing. I'll just leave that there. I'll leave it in front of me and we'll just chat. Other than that, how's everyone doing? Been a wild week in gaming. Xbox, Activision Blizzard, the entire thing like we talked about right at the beginning of this, all the stuff going on with the CMA. We know the EU is going to be making their decision in May. The CMA still keeping their date for the 26th. Jim Ryan's looking like he's going to lose his bid to try to block this deal, which is going to be real bad for him. The question I have is, if this deal doesn't happen, what's going to happen to Jim? Is he going to keep his job? That's probably a legitimate question that people may be asking right now. Is Jim Ryan going to be able to keep his job if this deal doesn't go through? Because I feel like PlayStation, I feel like Sony, they've put all of their eggs into trying to stop this deal. And if this doesn't happen, something I think drastic is going to happen at PlayStation. I feel like when this deal got announced, you had the head guys in Japan going to Jim Ryan and saying, you better stop this deal or your job's on the line. That's like a conspiracy theory I have right now. That's why he's going so hard to try to stop it, because you hear some of the things that they're saying, which is crazy. Like, to actually think that Call of Duty is the entire pillar of PlayStation just doesn't make any sense, because that means, how are they even still surviving? And all of the stuff we've heard about their first party games and how many they sell and how well they do and all this type of stuff and the virtuous cycle seemingly doesn't really mean much if the entire thing was Call of Duty. But it's been a crazy week with that. So the next one, I guess, the FTCs, what are they going to do? I think Jim Ryan has made Sony so much money that he can't do no wrong in their eyes. Maybe. But at the end, like, these big corporations, I think anybody is able to be cut at any time. I mean, they've gone through many uh, like many heads of PlayStation before. I mean, look at Sean Layden, how well he did, and he was gone. Like, um, so you never know, right? My money's on the CMA passing the deal, acknowledging the cloud deal Microsoft is making. If it's dominoes from there, yeah. I mean, they've made so many cloud deals, and they say that they are going to be making more. And if you're a smaller cloud company, right? Hopefully, this doesn't shut off the mic. If you're a smaller company in the cloud space, you're looking at this and you're just like, of course, I'm going to make a deal with Microsoft to get Call of Duty on there because everyone's making money from this. It's not just Microsoft, and that's the main thing here too. When it comes to competition, it's like not just Microsoft who's going to be making money when they're making all these smaller deals with all these cloud gaming companies who know that people now understand that they can just go buy Call of Duty and then sign up to one of these streaming services, and maybe they'll go with competitive pricing or whatever, and these streaming services are going to have to keep competing with each other. The deal go through or not, I hear many different views, but nothing concrete. Nothing has gone through yet. That's not true. I know a lot of people think it has. That was one of the things that happened when on Friday when that article came out and I put up my video. I wanted to be clear that the deal hasn't gone through. I mean, it's looking very likely at this point because they've essentially just said we don't care about any of the console remedies, which you could interpret that as Xbox potentially could just take Call of Duty off of PlayStation right now if they wanted to from like the native version of it. They could do that. They wouldn't. Doesn't make any business sense, but they could because there aren't going to be any remedies to actually force Call of Duty on PlayStation. And the only fault that is it's of PlayStation because they didn't sign the 10-year deal. They had plenty of opportunity to sign the 10-year deal. And then you have to ask yourself, well, is a deal really as bad as, or really as, is it really that bad for PlayStation like they are saying? My only thing with that is, I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm saying that why would Nintendo sign this deal if it's such a bad 10-year deal? Like Nintendo is a dominant video game company. So like, why would they sign this deal? They're not stupid businessmen on Nintendo, right? Hey, thanks to that Polo Boy. Appreciate it. Be good if we had a new Riddick remake game. That would be awesome. Yeah, the Chronicles of Riddick on the OG Xbox. That game was incredible. So welcome everybody here. We got 103 people here. If you're new to the channel, I was doing a weekly Plume cast Saturday nights. I guess this is kind of like the spiritual successor to it, which I'm going to eventually try to get back to doing. Like I've said at the beginning of the stream, I'm in the middle of moving, and once I move, I actually have a concrete place where I can stream from. I'm going to try to do a podcast once a week. But I wanted to unbox this guy. If you missed it, I unboxed the Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition, which with this awesome statue, like it's super, super cool. Yeah, we're just gonna chill. I'm having a beer. We're gonna talk games, whatever you guys want to talk about. I know it's been a very insane, busy week in gaming with the whole the Activision stuff. Friday was a huge day. As if you were on Twitter, there was a lot going on Twitter. Lots of console wars. Lots of hilarious stuff that happened on Twitter. I don't usually take part in console wars. I really like. I know you can watch my videos and you can say you're pro Xbox. I mean, Xbox is my preference, but I play on everything. Like I show you my PS5. I could show you my PSVR 2. Like I play on everything. I play on the Switch. I probably play on the Switch right now, almost more recently. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say I've been playing the Switch with like Fire Emblem, our Pokemon. I just finished Kirby. I've been playing a ton of Switch games recently. That and Xbox mostly, and then some PSVR 2 stuff. But yeah, like it's been a wild week. But yeah, I don't take too much part in the console wars on Twitter, but it was wild yesterday, and even today it was crazy. Twitter's gonna break when the deal goes through. Definitely, that's gonna be crazy. You don't have Twitter, but you see stuff from Turboverse TV channel. Twitter for some of the fanboys is definitely a full-time job. Gotta be. The meltdowns over Redfall were hilarious. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. That whole scenario with Redfall. Because like the reality of the situation is Xbox and Microsoft, Phil Spencer never lied at all about Redfall. I mean, they were very clear right when they had that roundtable what they were doing with new IPs being exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. Obviously, Redfall was in development for PlayStation. I mean, you didn't need Arcane, Harvey Smith come out and say that there was a version of Redfall in development for PlayStation. They literally had a year marketing deal with Deathloop, timed exclusive. They had a great relationship with PlayStation before the acquisition. I mean, they were doing all these marketing deals, so obviously they were going to plan for a game that was going to release. And that game, I don't know how long it's been in development, but probably longer than from when they announced the Bethesda deal. I'm assuming it was in development much longer than that. So obviously, they would have been planning before this deal happened for a PlayStation version. Like crazy that people are trying to spin it in any other way. It's like it's very clear what the whole like what Xbox had said right from the beginning of what they were doing with these games. Redfall showed Microsoft lied. They still didn't deny it was in development for the PlayStation 5. I don't. There's no. How did they lie? You need to explain that one to me. How did they lie? If you listen to exactly what Phil Spencer said, if you read his quotes, how did they lie about Redfall? I don't understand. You gotta explain to me. Anyone excited about the Clowns from Outer Space video game coming out? That looks pretty cool. Polo Boy, I own all the consoles. I play on everything. Like I've talked about this before. Like my preference this generation definitely is Xbox. Like I play way more on Xbox than PS5. Last generation, I had a PS4 before I had an Xbox One. I still loved the Xbox One. I eventually got it when Master Chief Collection came out, but PS4 was the console I got launch because of the abysmal Xbox One presentation with the DRM and the Kinect and all that stuff. So I got PS4 at launch because they were focusing on games. And then the previous generation to that, I have 360 first. So I've switched like which console I've gotten first and been my like go-to since pretty much whatever console gives me the best offering. That generation is what I do. I don't have like a strict like I'm going to be a fanboy for one or the other. Like next generation, if Xbox drops the ball, like they just change everything and they start doing like they did with the Xbox One at launch, and PS6 comes out and it's like how the Series X is right now, what they did with their launch. Like I'll go get a PS6 first. I'm not going to shill for whatever corporation gives the best value to the customers. Like Game Pass is incredible. Can't deny that. Blah blah with the £2 super chat. Appreciate it. Xbox smashed it. CMA and EU sorted. Just America. Yeah, it's coming down to the FTC. But I think the FTC, like, they're not going to look at everything that's happened with the CMA and with the EU and be like, oh, okay, we're just going to block this. No, they're going to make a deal with it. One thing you guys got to keep in mind too is that like not everybody. So like I'm lucky enough to be able to have all of the consoles, be able to like afford all of the consoles. Not everyone can afford all the consoles, so they're just gonna console war for the one that they have because it's the only one that they can get, which is nothing. I'm not saying it's bad that they can only get one. What I'm just saying is like that's a part of the reason. A lot of people who console war for a certain console or for a certain platform really only experience that platform. But if behind closed doors, I'm sure they would try an Xbox or a PlayStation and be like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like they would be more willing to try it, but on social media and on the internet, they're just kind of, they're kind of playing a playing a side because it gets attention and stuff. But I mean, at PS5, like I'm trying to think, what have I played on it? I played God of War, played Ratchet and Clank, which I love. Ratchet and Clank's one of my favorite series of all time from the PS2 days all the way till now. Um, what else have I played on it? Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm gonna play Spider-Man 2 for sure. I haven't played Last of Us 2, which it's one of those. I love the first one, but when they killed Joel off so early, and I saw those storyline, I just couldn't stomach playing Last of Us 2. Um, what else have I played on it recently? I play. I have all my friends who, like local friends, all have PS5s, and they play EASHL in NHL 23. So I play NHL with them on PS5, but that's pretty much it right now. And then PSVR 2, I've been checking that out. But it's like I turn on my Xbox and I'm never struggling out what games, what I want to play. There's just always something to check out with Game Pass. Hidden field goals blunted or FGs. I don't know if I just FGs I assumed was field goals, but yeah, I agree with you there, man. Like that's what I do. I turn on my Xbox and I'm drawn to that because of the value. Like I know some nights you don't really know what to play. You're just not really feeling it. You've been playing a game, you want to take a little bit of break from it. You just want to jump into something fast and just spend a couple hours playing games. I know with Xbox, I turn it on, jump into Game Pass, I will find something. PSVR is 860 Canadian. It is insanely expensive, but luckily I sold. Took me like a month to sell PSVR 1. Like those things are not, no one's buying it. That's one thing I have a question of. Is PSVR 2 even going to last? Because like you can walk into a store, buy a PSVR 2 anytime you want. You can buy them online. And then the first PSVR, which you would think that like somebody who just wants to jump into VR for cheap, sold it for like $300 or 250 or something like that. Um, you people would just jump on it, right? And it took me a month to sell my PSVR 1. But even like in Canada, like it's gonna in Canada probably I think it costs so PS5 in Canada, the disc version is $630, 600 digital, and then PSVR is 799, I think. Like you said, 860 after tax, something crazy like that. Quick resume on RE4 is a savior. When I'm shook, I just can just come back. How's the controls? I heard that Capcom has to update the controls for the Xbox version. You guys have checked, yeah, because I'm gonna jump into it later, but that's one thing that was kind of unfortunate to hear. Yeah, it's crazy expensive, Sully, man. I don't blame you. Yeah, the backwards compatibility too with PSVR 2 is terrible. But luckily I barely played my PSVR 1. Like I had like two games. I had like Iron Man and I had Creed. Funny thing is I didn't even play, like I literally lent it. I left it at my parents, and my dad played it for like a workout for like 3 years. He played Creed as a workout. Chris Hart being every Xbox podcast. I don't know who Chris Hart is. I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, nice. I can directly control my chat from the iPad. If you guys are jumping in here, I literally just put the setup together to do this unboxing. Working out. It's not bad. Ooh, Microsoft paid the CMA. I'm sure they paid a foreign government to change their mind. Hey, listen, like ponies, you guys are welcome if you guys are civil and have good conversation. I don't care. As long as you aren't being annoying. Yeah, I know. Dirt definitely kicks them right out. For sure. No time for that. I don't find my chats get too bad though. Even like the guys that do come in, there was like spam bots and stuff that would come in. I think there was a guy named like Crap Boy. He made like 100 accounts every time I would go live, and he would spam my chat. Obviously, I'm gonna block guys like that, or like dudes who just coming in and like all capping like Xbox sucks and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll kick you out of the chat. There's no point. Yeah. September is going to be a huge face off. Spider-Man 2 and Starfield. I think Starfield's going to like. I mean, just again, objectively, Starfield's going to greatly outsell and outdo Spider-Man 2 just because it's on multiple platforms, on multiple devices. You have PC players and you have Xbox players, and then you have people just literally on the cloud who want to play Starfield. Spider-Man 2 is only going to be on PS5. I feel like Starfield is going to have a bigger launch than Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man 2 is going to be crazy. Have I read section 5 and to 5.6 of the CMA document? Which like of the latest one? 5 and 5.6. I was reading through it. A lot of it is like the same stuff that we've already talked about, but let me pull it up here. Let me pull up 5 and 5. Let me section 5 and 5.6. You know what's really cool about this iPad? I can literally have the chat and have the document up here. Section 5. The partial foreclosure. Is that the section you're talking about? You know what? Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right. All right, I'm back. Did the old switcheroo here. So we can pull up some stuff. Pull up some stuff here on the internet, on a web browser. And we can take a look at it. Because there is an entire document, right? I know this is just kind of just ad-libbing this entire stream. Just hanging out, so bear with me here. They did publish a brand new, I don't know if you guys are interested at all. They did publish a brand new document here. So, wow, this is a hilarious tweet that just popped up. So they did publish, first of all, apparently Jim Ryan from Foss Patton says here that the UK determined that Microsoft Activision Blizzard presents no risk of vertical foreclosure in video game console market 7 times. So the console market theory was dismissed 7 times, which is absolutely insane. They tried to like make this an argument 7 times. And were completely denied every single time. Then there's that, and this is another thing that was pretty interesting. But this was something I talked about in my video. At the ID at Xbox, they had paid over $4 billion to ID at Xbox games, which was pretty cool. But they have this here. So there is, what is it? It's the Addendum Provisional Findings Report, Notice of Addendum, CMA narrows. So there's that, which is what I had read over. And then there is the updated provisional findings here. And in here, they say here, as a result of the submissions that we received after provisional findings, which we have taken into account together with the evidence that we have received to date, we now provisionally conclude that Microsoft would not have an incentive to engage in a total foreclosure strategy for PlayStation using Call of Duty, which I think was obvious right from the start when they offered Call of Duty multiple times to all these people and to PlayStation, 10-year deals, all that stuff, right? It was pretty obvious they weren't going to use it to try to foreclose, but it's because they did these new calculations, the lifetime value of customers, and realized that based off of the numbers that Microsoft was using and that they got more data from Microsoft, that Microsoft would substantially lose money if they were to take Call of Duty off of PlayStation, which means that obviously there's no reason to try to keep it off of them and then try to foreclose them, because you would just be hurting your own business, right? It makes, like, again, it's like I said, zero sense for them to do that. And they come to that conclusion here. They go through like all of the lifetime value modeling and stuff, and why their first look at the lifetime value modeling was wrong, and why currently now when they look at it, it is correct. They look at past acquisitions, and then down in 5, I think you wanted me to look at number 5. This is all stuff we've already read before. Partial foreclosure. So in our provisional findings, we explained that our assessment does not presuppose any specific foreclosure strategy. We noted that the merged entity may focus first on partial foreclosure strategies, with the exception of shifting users to its platform over a period of time, gradually shifting to a total foreclosure strategy. We noted that our assessment does not assume any particular combination or order of foreclosure strategies, but considers more generally whether the merged entity would have the ability and incentive to engage in these strategies and how that would affect competition. Okay, so that's what they're looking at. And they say, in light of our provisional conclusion that Microsoft would have no incentive to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox post-merger, we have considered in greater detail whether Microsoft would have the ability and incentive to foreclose PlayStation post-merger through partial foreclosure strategies alone, as detailed in our provisional findings. Okay, so I guess they're still looking into whether they could actually foreclose them or not. Jim Ryan always crying. You know, at the end of the day, Jim Ryan is one thing I will say, like no matter what we think, Jim Ryan is doing what he thinks is going to be in the best interest of PlayStation, right? At the end of the day, it's what he's doing. And that's why he's going so hard to block this deal, because they're going to have to be paying Microsoft tons and tons of money for Call of Duty every single year in royalties. I'm not here with the chat. It would be cool if Microsoft had to make the PSVR compatible with the Series X, get Sony on board. Better for everyone. Xbox is my preferred platform. It'd be cool to use PSVR 2 as well. I would love to see them. I don't think Xbox is going to do anything with VR themselves. Like, I don't think they're going to make their own hardware, but I would love to see them open up PSVR or just VR compatibility that you could plug it in to your Xbox and, you know, like somehow access VR games. I know that would be almost impossible, because then they would have to put VR games onto the Microsoft store, and there would be all this like legal stuff, business stuff, royalties, all this crap they would have to go through. And I'm guessing they just don't want anything to do with that. But it would be pretty cool, maybe if they developed a relationship with Steam where VR games within Steam could show up on Xbox somehow, and then you could use any VR headset on Xbox. I think that would be smart. But the thing is with VR, it's like, is it actually a market that's going to last? It seems very, very niche, even still now. I mean, PSVR came out in 2016. I completely forget that it came out that long ago, the first one. And I guess it sold well enough to make a PSVR 2, but like how it seems like PSVR 2 right now, you just look around, like the demand for it doesn't seem that high. It really doesn't. Conspiracy theories that they're waiting for Gabe Newell to retire to buy Valve, and that they will have VR and a handheld console. Yeah, you never know. That would be crazy. I can see the thing with PSVR 2, from what I've used, I've played Call of the Mountain, which is, it is cool. Like, it's a good experience. It's a real game. I know, but it's not just, I don't think it's just a tech demo or anything like that. Like, it's a lot of just climbing around, but there's a full story, there's combat, and the combat I think is done really well. And the actual headset vibrates, and the controls are actually really like immersive. I think PlayStation, the headset is a good headset. I think it's a very, very good headset. It's just they have to support it. If like, there's nothing really to play on it that you can't already play on like a Quest 2 or something besides that one game. And I guess Gran Turismo, but I mean, they just have to support it. Once they start supporting it, people maybe will be looking at it more. So 5.6 was the other thing you wanted me to read. Someone in the chat. This says, we have not seen any robust evidence to suggest that PlayStation users would switch from PlayStation to Xbox at the same rate in response to partial and total foreclosure strategies. We consider that it is unlikely that they would do so, since under a partial foreclosure strategy, Call of Duty would still be available on PlayStation, albeit not at the same time or not the same exact content, which is exactly what PlayStation currently does with Call of Duty, which Xbox has said they will not be doing. They said they aren't going to be doing any of that stuff. Given that any deterioration in PlayStation's offerings would be more modest under a partial foreclosure strategy, we would expect that only a fraction of gamers would switch to Xbox. Okay. On this basis, we have provisionally concluded that Microsoft would not have the ability to foreclose PlayStation on the basis of partial foreclosure strategies. So there you go. That section concludes that they aren't going to foreclose, or they don't have the ability to foreclose PlayStation. So, I mean, that's it. That's a big thing right there. If they look at all of these numbers and they're like, we've come to the conclusion that they don't even have the ability to partially foreclose PlayStation, the deal is most likely going to go through. GT7 is the only one I'd be interested in at the moment. It's one I want to try, but I still, I'm trying to find a good price for GT7. It's still like full price. Even secondhand, people are still trying to sell it for a lot. Gabe Newell is very good friends with Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer. Well, he made it seem like he has full trust in the company. That's for sure. Definitely made it seem like he has full trust in them. What do we got going on here? Activision is the number one thing trending on my list. Coming soon. Yeah, they got to bring back these back catalog of games. And they got to put them into Game Pass. This Transformers Devastation game is really good. It'd be really awesome if they made a new prototype. Sekiro drops in, that'd be cool too. Skylanders, all the Crash, and all these Call of Duties. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It's crazy some of the stuff that's going on Twitter with all of this. PlayStation is holding on to an old model console and thinking VR is the future. VR is definitely, I don't think it's the future, but I don't know if PlayStation, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know if they think it's the future, but it's going to be super interesting to see how well the PSVR 2 sells, how well it has sold at launch, and if they're going to continue with it, or if it's going to be like a PS Vita type of thing. Because PS Vita, if you remember when that came out, I had one. PS Vita was amazing. I loved the PS Vita. It's a very underappreciated handheld, but it was just way more advanced than what was on the market at that point with like the Nintendo 3DS, right? It's just way more features, just a much better handheld overall in terms of what you could do with it. It just didn't last. Nobody bought it because it's not about the highest technology, I guess, in this stuff. It's about marketing. It's about the games, obviously, is one big thing, but the PS Vita has a ton of great games, contrary to what people believe, and they just abandoned it. So I wonder if they're going to just abandon the PSVR 2 at some point if it doesn't sell well. Am I drinking Stella? No, I'm drinking Grolsch. Could they bring back Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2? Yeah, they could, definitely. I mean, that's definitely a possibility, I believe. But look at this. I mean, this is not obviously real. They got to do something with Tony Hawk too. The remakes of Tony Hawk were really good, but I'd love to see a brand new one because Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 was terrible. Like, can't end on that. Not end on that. You can bring back or even do remakes of some older ones, like the Undergrounds are good. I'm pissed I paid for the tech in Series X and I'm still waiting. Yeah, honestly, I even am wondering what's going on with the RDNA 2 stuff that they promised they were going to be using. There was tons of articles on Xbox Wire talking about the RDNA 2. We know it's in there, and we know that it's just it's gonna help the games perform extremely well on Xbox. I don't even think we know it's a huge advantage that the Xbox has right now over the PS5, but they're just literally not utilizing them. And one of the things that you can argue is just if you're a dev, you know how big the install base is for the PS5. It's a massive install base. It's a bigger install base than the Xbox. So why would you go out of your way to try to learn these these tools that everyone was talking about at the beginning, when it's not going to make that big of a difference. Like the game's going to run great on both either way right now from what we're seeing. Like I know people love to look at these games and pixel count and watch the 5 FPS drop in this random section of the game, but in reality is a lot of games are running pretty good on the Series X and the PS5. Like they are hitting 60 frames per second and there's a lot of good looking stuff out there, but they could just be so much better if they utilize all the tools. And I'm still waiting for it too. As I ask myself that all the time, why haven't they utilized RDNA 2 stuff yet? Devs probably just don't have the time or energy or ROI to do it on the Xbox, because maybe it's the install base. I don't know. But like even with this bad boy here that everyone was talking about, stupid background erase, stupid background removal. Anyways, Resident Evil 4, everyone was talking about, like the first video came out where they're doing the comparison and it was like a 5 FPS drop between the PS5 and the Series X. And everyone was thinking like, oh, PS5 version is better. PS5 version is better because of one section or a couple sections where there was an FPS drop. And the reality of the situation is, the game comes out and we see now that the image clarity and image quality on the Series X version is like significantly better. It's higher resolution than the PS5 version. But do people care that much better, or do they just want steady 60 frames per second across the board throughout the entire game? From everything I've played through the demo, the game runs and looks incredible on Xbox. Like I know people have to complain about little things, but like it runs great. The more important thing that they have to fix is the controller stuff. I think Digital Foundry have been one of the most detrimental things in gaming, to be honest. There is a lot of hate for Digital Foundry for sure. I think like, I don't know. I think what they do is good in a sense for people who really care about looking at those things. But for the average gamer, like no one is going to notice or even care when they're playing a 5 FPS drop in a random section of a game that's going to have no bearing on your enjoyability of the game. It's just not going to affect it. And no matter what anybody says, they're lying to you if they're saying, oh, well, I really care about that 5 FPS drop randomly that happens that is sporadic. Like it's not going to affect the game for you. It's just not. You may not even notice it. Like that's crazy. Blah blah. Again, thank you with the €2 or £2 super chat. Have another gross on me. Love your dailies and dog. Appreciate that. You know what? I do have one more. I did bring 2. And I just finished 1. So this one's on you. Appreciate that. Thank you. And my dog is, she's sleeping. She just gave me a stink eye. Like she was snoring and I looked at her and she just like, screw off. That's what she just told me. It's the PS3 cell processor scenario. It will take time before they decide to learn tech. You know what? I vividly remember the PS3 cell processor because I remember like even like EA Sports games when the PS3 launched were like 720p or something. And they were 1080 on the 360. And it was just like a sports game couldn't even. And it was all because of the cell processor. Because like the cell processor apparently was like a revolutionary thing. And it just took them a while. I mean, look at The Last of Us on the PS3. You go play that today, you'd be like, this is a PS3 game? It's insane. So yeah, no, it may take them a while. I agree. It usually takes like from, if memory serves me correctly, like it honestly almost takes to the almost near the end of the generation for any of these devs to actually utilize all of the tools that are within these boxes. So the only other thing that I would say is different is the cell processor is like, it was a different architecture. Like the PS5 and the Series X are essentially the exact same. They're essentially the exact same. One is slightly more powerful because it has more teraflops and it has a better CPU. It has like the RDNA 2 stuff in it, right? Like one is slightly more powerful, but they're both x86. They're both AMD the SoCs. Like they're essentially, they're developing on the exact same platform. So I don't understand why. Well, you know, I don't think it is actually difficult for these devs to make the Series X version or the PS5 version, depending on which console that they have to like, that they they focus on. Like if they focus on PS5 to make a Series X version. I think in one of the CMA documents they even said it's not much more effort, resources, or time to actually make that version for the other console, and that's because of the same architecture. PS5 isn't holding the Series X back, and the Series S isn't holding whatever back. You're right. It definitely is not. The Series S stuff is just like, it's obviously not holding stuff back. We've seen great games run great on it, and we've seen PCs with lower specs get games. So there's the common denominator there is the dev. What's up, Vossman923? How you doing? Ryan Reynolds just sold Mint Mobile to T-Mobile, probably because he's trying to buy a hockey team. Microsoft seems very confident in the tech in the box, so I can't wait to see some first party after there's no excuses. Yeah, I think the I mean, what's coming out, like Forza Horizon 5 is already, it was incredible. Like one of the best looking games to date still, I think. Halo Infinite looked decent. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it. Psychonauts looked really cool, but I guess that doesn't really count. So Forza Motorsport's going to be huge. We're going to really see the tech there, I think. Whenever Hellblade 2 comes out, like if everything we're seeing right now from Hellblade 2 translated into a game, like that's going to be insane. That's going to be insane. That's going to be the showcase for the Series X. I mean, you saw the Unreal Engine 5 stuff. That's going to be the game that everyone stops and says, okay, this is the showcase for what this console can do. So like Starfield, I think will look fine, but I don't think it's going to be like the best looking game in the world, but it'll be fine. It'll be a Bethesda game, right? Redfall actually looks good from the game, from the previews we saw. It looks pretty damn good. I love the cell shading, and I love the art style that the Arcane usually has. And just like the particle effects from the explosions when you were stabbing vampires in the heart from the previews looked like very, very good. So I'm excited to see how that's actually going to be in real life when the game drops. But that game has me so excited after seeing those previews. I was like, they announced Redfall. I was like, Left 4 Dead. I like Left 4 Dead, but we have so many of those right now. We have Back 4 Blood. Like, I don't need another clone. And then we hear it's not like Left 4 Dead at all. There's a full single player campaign, solo stuff. You can play with friends, and there's a full story. So I got excited. And then we're hearing now that it's like a pared down, like more focused open world, kind of like Far Cry, which I love Far Cry. And the atmosphere is what puts it over the top. It has me like 9, 10 out of 10 excited for Redfall. I can't wait to jump into that. Like the lighting in Redfall, the lighting looked really, really cool. All right, let's see what other craziness is going on here at Twitter. We got Reforged Gaming. Really, I never heard of this guy in my life before this week. I don't know if you guys heard of this guy. I never heard of him before, but he made he popped up, I guess, with talking about PlayStation. He got it right into the algorithm. I guess I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to switch, guys. I'm gonna have to be disingenuous here and just pretend like I'm a Sony fanboy to pop off in the algorithm. I'm just kidding. I would never like fake liking something more than another. You got Lulu. Lulu has been just hilarious. I mean, she's doing her job, right? And she's just hilarious at some of the stuff that she says. Let's see. Did she do anything else for Activision? Did she say anything else about Activision Blizzard recently? She says the CMA's updated provisional filing shown improved understanding of the console gaming market and demonstrate a commitment to supporting players and competition. Sony's campaign to protect its dominance by blocking, our merger can't overcome the facts. And Microsoft has already presented effective and enforceable remedies to address each of the CMA's remaining concerns. We know this deal will benefit competition, innovation, and consumers in the UK. Let's see. He started popping up in my YouTube feed about a month ago. Third time to watch him, it was clear he was about Hey, I mean, if the reality of the situation is like, if you're a YouTuber who's, it's like your full-time job, right? Like it's the only thing you do and you want to pop off fast. There's, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but the PlayStation fan base is much larger on YouTube. So it's just easier to appeal to them because you have more of a range. I don't know. Not that I care. I don't give a shit. But yeah, maybe that's why some people go that way. What else we got here? Oh, this was interesting too. Well, first of all, this. Did she say something about Final Fantasy? News of Final Fantasy 16 being a PS5 exclusive has reached the Senate. Maria Cantwell criticized Sony Interactive Entertainment's monopoly control of the high-end gaming market during a hearing Thursday and called on U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai to press Japan on the issue during ongoing trade talks. I'm told that Sony controls a monopoly of 98% of the high-end game market. Now, this is something people keep are debating it. It's obvious 98% does not include Nintendo. I don't know why people keep debating this. 98% is clearly the picture that the regulators created with the high-end console market, which was Xbox and PlayStation, and they excluded Nintendo. It doesn't make sense. 90%. It's obviously why she's saying 98%. Yet Japan's government has allowed Sony to engage in blatant anti-competitive conduct through exclusive deals and payments to game publishers. So one of the things about the entire FTC thing, now I don't think it will go to court, but if it does go to court, it will honestly kind of be fun and interesting for it to go to court. I wouldn't be like that against it because I don't care, first of all, if it goes or doesn't, but like if it does, I'm kind of rooting for things coming out to the public because I want to see the Square Enix dealings with PlayStation. To me, Square Enix is such an interesting company, and I've said this in the videos. It's not because they make the best games in the world or anything, or they make like the most interesting games, but just because of the deals that they do are just so odd. Like you have some games that are just on PlayStation. You have some games that are just on PlayStation and Nintendo, not on Xbox. You have some games that come to Game Pass. Like they're just so random in some of their deals. And like Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I would love to see what the deal was for those games. I think that would be extremely interesting, just very insightful of what we can expect going forward for Final Fantasy in general on Xbox. Like why was Crisis Core on Xbox, but Final Fantasy 7, I mean, Crisis Core is a prologue, right? Like prequel, whatever. Why was that on Xbox and Final Fantasy 7 Remake isn't? And the whole Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I think they're making 3 of them, right? For the whole story. Why none of those are going to be on Xbox? Reforged blocked me when I called him out on for BS. I think the only people I've blocked on Twitter ever have been like bots and like crypto bots. But I don't have a big enough following on Twitter to probably experience what some of these guys experience. So I can't really comment on blocking people on Twitter and the trolls. And probably, it's like social media and Twitter. I lurk more than I actually like engage with it, mainly because I don't know how people spend their entire days arguing and debating on Twitter.
you can't understand at all the person's tone that you're talking to them. So they literally could be saying something to you in like the nicest way. They literally could be very like positive, and you would have no idea because you don't understand the tone when you're reading text on a screen. And people literally, a lot of people I think on Twitter, they read something and their first instinct is in a negative tone in their voice, in their head, and then they just react, and then it starts like an angry debate between people. Like you literally could read anything on Twitter with a negative tone and think the person is like coming at you and trying to like and debate you and stuff. Final Fantasy VII Remake is the only games I'm buying on my PS5 in the foreseeable. Final Fantasy VII Remake, really good. I play it on PS4, and honestly, Final Fantasy 16, like, the game looks just phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. I can't wait for it. And it sucks that it's exclusive to PS5. I'm going to play it on PS5, but like it sucks that like people who don't have PS5 aren't going to be able to play it. Like Final Fantasy 17, whenever that comes out, is that going to be exclusive to PS6 or whenever the end of the PS5? And that's the other thing. Do you guys think that a PS5 Pro is actually going to come out? Because will be interesting. That will be interesting to see. A lot of people pointed this out. I pointed it out too, just for like informational. She does get, I know people say it's a difference between like individuals and the company, but she does get contributions from people at Microsoft. So you got to keep that in mind whenever you're looking at that stuff. They said Forspoken looked great, so I'm going to hold off on Final Fantasy. Fair. But I think Final Fantasy is like a different tier at Square Enix. Like they really care about Final Fantasy. Forspoken was to them probably just like, we'll give it a try. We'll hope it pops off. Oh, this was crazy. I don't even know who this guy is, but like, yo, that was a freaking book. Brutal PlayStation fanboy heard over the I don't even want to get into it, but that was a book. I didn't read it, but I just saw this and I saw a really funny video where it was, I wonder if I liked it. I laughed at it for like 5 minutes. Did I like it? I probably didn't like it. Anyways, it was like that with like the Star Wars intro. You bet there will be a pro model for sure. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. The PS5 now is actually pretty readily available. So the argument that why would they build the pro model now with this demand so high? The demand is still very high, but the supply has now met the demand. My friend sent me a picture yesterday. From Costco. Let's see if I can find it here. I didn't tweet it out or anything, but sent me a picture yesterday from Costco with PS5s. They're just there. Like you can walk into Costco and get a PS5. No problem now. So maybe they're thinking now is the time that the supply is up to the demand that we can build something more powerful and it won't hurt our bottom line as much. What I want more so than anything though, is just a PS5 Slim. Like just build a PS5 Slim. This thing is gargantuan. It's under my desk right now. My friggin' leg is always kicking it because it's always in the damn way. Give me a PS5 Slim, please. Look, I just turned it on with my foot. I'm trying to move it. God damn it. Let me see this. Oh, here it is. So yeah, this is a real picture. Oh, it's not working. But yeah, the friggin' tons of PS5s at Costco. You think Spider-Man games are going to come to Game Pass, such as Shattered Dimensions? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure how that works. That's a question a lot of people have. Because doesn't Sony own the IPs for the video games and for like the movies, right? But those games are made by Activision. Like, would they have to go through Sony now? I'm not sure how that would work. And if they would have to go through Sony, I don't think Sony would allow that, but it would be really cool because those are really, really good games. Shattered Dimensions is awesome. I hope so. But I'm not sure how it works, just because it's like the Spider-Man IP is so confusing. Right? Like, but like then again, maybe it could because, well, no, I was going to say Avengers had Spider-Man, but that was only on PS5. So yeah, like I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like there's something there with Sony that they would have to go through. Well, there's an article saying there isn't going to be a Pro model. They're just going to work on a PS6, just PS5 sim only. I've read two things. I've read that they are working on the Pro model. I haven't seen the one saying that they aren't working on a Pro model. And then I've read the one where they're just they're just phasing out the disc version and only having digital version, and then having the disc drive add-on as like something that you're going to be able to buy. And apparently we should be hearing about all this year. So I feel like there's going to be a massive state of play in the summer following the Xbox show where we're going to hear a lot of information on this stuff. Just can't see a mid-gen refresh happening again. Sony owns movie rights. They don't own video game or comic book rights to Spider-Man IP. Okay. So they own the movie rights, but they don't own the video game or comic book rights to Spider-Man IP. So then maybe. So then I guess but Insomniac owns, like Insomniac owns the rights to make Spider-Man games. Was Spider-Man in let me see. Was Spider-Man in Midnight Suns? So he was. So Spider-Man was in Midnight Suns, right? And that was on Xbox. Okay. So then it could happen. No, Spider-Man wasn't in Midnight Suns. I thought Spider-Man was in Midnight Suns. Was Spider-Man Yeah, he is. He's revealed in the Darkness Falls trailers on June 9th, 2022. So he was. Insomniac does not own the rights to make Spider-Man games either. Okay. Well, then it may happen. Who owns? Here's an article. Let's see what this says. Spider-Man property is perhaps one of Marvel's most contested characters when it comes to exclusivity rights. From Sony and Marvel's long-running feud to the strange rights Activision had for a long time, It's unclear exactly who owns Spider-Man. This is further complicated by Marvel Spider-Man's launching exclusively on PS4 back in 2018 with the recent announcement of Spider-Man's introduction to Marvel's Avengers as an exclusive character on PlayStation. Many began to question exactly who has the video game rights to the beloved wall crawler. Okay. So it's likely many assume that Spider-Man, including his games, are owned exclusively by Sony, which I think a lot of people would just assume makes sense. And given that the studio acquired Insomniac in 2019, it would make sense if Sony had all the video game rights. However, this wouldn't be accurate. Sony only possesses the movie rights for the character, even if Spidey makes an appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Given that there has been no official mention of Spider-Man video game rights, exclusivity becomes difficult to discern. Initially, Activision was the only known studio who held exclusive video games rights to the Spider-Man property. Between 2000 and 2014, Activision pushed out games such as Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Ultimate Spider-Man, and many more. However, since the company does not own their own game platform, the titles could be launched across almost all the major game consoles at the time, including PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Once their license expired in 2014, Spider-Man technically didn't belong to one particular studio anymore. Jumping several years ahead to 2016, Spider-Man was officially announced during a speech given by Marvel game head Jay Ong. The relationship between Sony, Insomniac, and Marvel is stated as simply being a partnership. This is super confusing. This is why there's so many questions. The three major corporations were banding together to produce an all-new Spider-Man game. If Sony was the sole owner of the Spider-Man game rights, it would be unlikely that the character would be appearing in anything that doesn't run on PlayStation. This explains why Spider-Man has made appearances in other Marvel games like Ultimate Alliance 3. Okay, so I guess they could. I feel like they could. So those Spider-Man games probably could come onto Game Pass, probably could come onto Xbox, because Insomniac and Marvel have a partnership, but they don't own the exclusive rights to making a Spider-Man game, as we've seen with Marvel's Midnight Suns, which just came out. Spider-Man was in there, and then again, like they say here, Ultimate Alliance 3 and Lego's Marvel Superheroes 2. So yeah, so they could. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see those games come on, and I feel like it is a possibility now after reading that. That's my conclusion to this. They don't own the rights. Sony doesn't own the rights to the game, to Spider-Man, to the IP for video games. They have a partnership with Insomniac, unless things have changed. That article was written in 2020. They have a partnership with Insomniac, who has been making the games, and Insomniac is a exclusive studio as a PlayStation studio, so that's why it's only on PlayStation. Insomniac Spider-Man is the best. They will do an amazing job with Wolverine. Insomniac is a great developer. One of my favorite ones, honestly, in the entire video games. I've always loved Insomniac, even like way before they were part of PlayStation, but even now, like they're incredible. To me, they're my favorite PlayStation dev by far, because they're about gameplay. Like, let's be honest, like the Spider-Man, the stories and all of their games, they're just like mediocre, but they're all about gameplay. Like, that's what Insomniac does. And I'm a gameplay guy. Like, I'll take good gameplay over a good story any day of the week. Insomniac has just tight, incredible gameplay. Yeah, Spider-Man is the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on Nintendo Switch. Yep. Xbox will win and buy out in Japan with a 98% to 2% case. What's up, everybody? I see got 124 of you guys in here. I've been streaming for about, how long has it been here? An hour and a half. In case you missed it, I did an unboxing earlier. I had a different setup, and I unboxed this guy. Got the collector's edition of Resident Evil 4. Really cool statue. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, that freaking, yeah. We got Leon here. Awesome statue. I can't wait to finally like have a place to set all this stuff up. Let's see what other fun stuff we got going on Twitter here. Oh, this is another. Oh, it's the same picture. So Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Those are great games. They don't have Shattered Dimensions in here. Yeah. Oh, that's me. I liked Ratchet and Clank. Spider-Man just feels like a Ubisoft open world. Hey, I like Ubisoft open worlds. I like the checklists. Even Hogwarts Legacy was a Ubisoft open world checklist style. Like I've jumped back into it now, and I'm just love going around just clearing off the stuff on the map. Spider-Man and Venom are in Midnight Suns. Okay, cool. Christopher Dring. The CMA has provisionally concluded that the anticipated acquisition by Microsoft Corporation of Activision Blizzard will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in relation to console gaming in the UK. I wonder if he had a hard time writing that. Sony should put their PS4 exclusives on Xbox, and Switch would build a lot of goodwill. There is not a day we will ever see that happen. Ever. Oh, that was what I wanted to see here. There is some interesting stuff here from this thread. Rachie with the 550 super chat. Canadian dollars. Let's go. I appreciate it. Do I still have the Ni no Kuni Collector's Edition? I do have it. I do have the Ni no Kuni Collector's Edition. Did I finish it or plan to play it on Game Pass? I didn't finish it, and I definitely plan to play it on Game Pass because it is the remastered version, right? But I do have the Collector's Edition. Yep. It's for PS4, the one I have. One interesting thing here, watching your RE4 unboxing now, they started. I appreciate that. Yeah, go watch that. I just did like a MacGyver setup here on the side. I don't know how well it turned out, but you can see everything that's in there. One of the interesting things that this thread says that highlights this part, and basically it says, may focus first on partial foreclosure strategies and gradually shift to a total foreclosure strategy as a result of a revised provisional conclusion on Microsoft's incentives to engage in a total foreclosure strategy. We have reassessed whether Microsoft would have the ability and incentive to foreclose PlayStation through partial foreclosure strategies alone. We have provisionally concluded that although such strategies could degrade PlayStation's offerings to some extent, they would not materially affect its ability to compete. As such, we have provisionally found that Microsoft would not have the ability to foreclose PlayStation through partial foreclosure strategies using Call of Duty. And this is a good point here. It says, this now means they're okay with Xbox Call of Duty having exclusive benefits that PlayStation does not. But Microsoft likely won't do so. It also means that they're now okay with Microsoft putting Call of Duty only on Game Pass without it needing to be on PS Plus on equal terms day and date. So that part I'm not sure, because we do know the cloud section is like a completely separate thing that the CMA is looking at. And Microsoft has already said that PlayStation can have Call of Duty day and date on PS Plus. But the exclusive benefits thing, we know for the last, since 2014, 2015, whenever Sony and Call of Duty hooked up and they got the marketing rights, that there has been exclusive content on Call of Duty on PlayStation. And Microsoft now, based off of what the CMA has come out and finalized, that they can do the exclusive content stuff on the Xbox version to get people over to Xbox. Now, should they do it? No. Will they do it? No. Do I want them to do it? No. But they can if they decide to do what PlayStation was doing with the marketing rights. Does still business-wise, it wouldn't make sense. You don't want to degrade the game at all in any way. You don't want to make it not parity across the board, because you're got to keep in mind that you as Xbox are making the money off of every single copy purchased, no matter what platform it's purchased on. You're making money off of that, and they probably don't want to like ruin any of the amount of money they're going to be able to make across all the platforms, and ruin any of the goodwill or any of the perception of Call of Duty on PlayStation. Who's next? About Sega, Capcom, or Bandai Namco? Well, I don't think Capcom. Definitely not. Capcom is phenomenal. They've been doing phenomenal. Every game they release is so good. I don't think they're in any trouble at all. I don't see why they would want to sell. There would be no point. Sega would be like, there's been rumors about Sega forever, but that would be the most likely, I would think, out of those three, to be honest. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to think of any of those three selling. Do you think Japan will allow Microsoft to buy a Japanese publisher as part of the concession for the trade agreement between the USA and Japan? I mean, they already have Tango, right? That's a Japanese developer. So I read something, so I'm not 100%, I'm not like completely knowledgeable on how the entire Japanese thing works when with foreign companies coming in and buying, but I did read something where it's kind of, you can buy Japanese companies as Microsoft. I mean, we've seen it with Tango. They can, it's a little bit harder. And we know Microsoft has already said they're trying to expand in Japan. I think honestly, if Microsoft's if they purchase another developer in Japan, it's going to be like a smaller couple of indie devs in Japan or something. More so than like a big publisher or a big like studio in Japan. Will it be a part of the concessions? I don't think it will be a part of the concessions, no. But I think Microsoft is looking to buy stuff in Japan for sure. They need to just do better there. Like they get destroyed in Japan, and it's almost impossible for them to ever catch up. But they can definitely do better and try to improve. Yeah, like Ulfednar says, there are no laws. I read that. I don't believe there are any laws against it. A lot of people keep saying that, but I don't believe that is true. It's just, first of all, for Microsoft, is it in their best interest to go and buy a huge company in Japan, right? Honestly, probably not right now. If they want to try to expand there, but for them, it's like you're going to spend all this money on these big companies in Japan, and will it really make a huge dent in that market? It's tough to say. You got Nintendo and you have Sony in there, where people are still going to gravitate towards, even let's say if they bought like I don't know, like even if they bought a Sega, right, they would still put those games probably on the other platforms, right? It would be way too risky to only put those games on Xbox in Japan. Like it would just be, the ROI wouldn't be there. So I don't think like it's really in their best interest at this point. But like I said, I feel like it would be smart for Microsoft maybe to get some small indie devs, or maybe just smaller developers in Japan. Like a studio like Tango is perfect. It sucks that Shinji Mikami has retired, because he was like a gem. He was like when they got Bethesda, I thought Mikami was like one of their biggest assets, and then now he's retiring. But he didn't technically make Hi-Fi Rush, did he? He wasn't the lead on it. The only companies foreign companies cannot buy are financial, banking, military, security, nuclear, power companies, medical. These are the only ones foreign companies cannot get. Okay, there you go. Square Enix will be an interesting one to watch. They've been making some dumb decisions. The Square Enix, very interesting to watch because of the weird decisions that they make. I don't know why they make some of these decisions that they make, but they do. And yeah, the NFT stuff, I'm pretty sure it's already not going over well, but they continue to do it. Same with like Ubisoft, right? Like their first launch of the NFT stuff was just brutal. They made like no money off it, but they're still pushing it. He wasn't the lead on Evil Within either. He was supervising his talent he hired. There you go. So that's good. That's good to know. Square Enix is trying to downsize for Sony. So that's been a rumor for a while, right? About Square Enix and Sony and stuff. We'll see if that happens. Yeah, they are. They've been selling stuff off. They've been downsizing, and they've been merging their own studios into other studios. You think Microsoft will get Square Enix? Oof, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that their relationship with Sony is just too strong, and it's Japanese. Like, I don't know. That would be tough. What other cool? Oh, Dreamcast guy. Let's go. What else we got here? Already went through all that. PlayStation owners are smarter than Xbox owners, according to a new study from December 1st, 2020. That's obviously like all right. Let's see. Is there anything else here to talk about? Xbox removes Candy Crush Sega advertising from Microsoft. Oh, I think they updated that, so that's no longer true. Sony lost control in opposing Microsoft Activision's Blizzard deal, analyst says. To reflect that he's actually a patent and antitrust law focused analyst. Sony has lost control over the narrative concerning Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, according to a longtime patent antitrust analyst. This perspective on the ongoing drama surrounding the $69 billion takeover attempt arrived shortly after Microsoft offered to compromise to the EU. Oh, this was from, that's 4 days ago, yeah. Florian Mueller. After oh, this was interesting, yeah. I think this just happened today or yesterday. Oh, a couple days ago. After Enix and the Financial Times, Reuters now also confirms Microsoft's remedy over the European Commission doesn't mention Sony. So that was another thing that was super interesting, was that there was no mention of Sony in the remedies that they had offered to the European Commission at all. And the European Commission was from what we understand, is leaning towards approving this deal. So we'll see. They have till May to make their decision. Game Pass ad in Candy Crush sounds juicy. Here, Take-Two is up for sale. It's funny because my last stream, that Rythian guy, who's the one who's been spreading this rumor, I think he's the one that's been spreading this rumor, right? Where is it? Rythian? Oh, I can't find it. But the guy who's been spreading the rumor came into my chat and was telling me that the Take-Two rumor was true and that they're about to buy them and all of this stuff. And it was putting some other rumors in the chat, and obviously didn't believe it. But like that person really thinks that Take-Two is about to be bought by PlayStation, or that and GTA is going to be a PlayStation IP. He's a Sony fanboy, is he? I doubt Take-Two will sell to anybody. They have too much growth potential to sell right now. Imagine taking GTA off of any platform with the amount of money that game makes. Imagine taking GTA off of PC. It would just be like the worst decision in the history of video games. Taking GTA off of PC. if Sony bought them and then like, oh, we're making this exclusive to the PlayStation. Like, it would just be the worst business decision ever. All right, what time we go? An hour 50. I think I'm gonna call the stream there, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. And I did the unboxing of Resident Evil 4 Collectors. So if you go earlier in the stream, you will see that. Like I said, I've said this multiple times, but I'm going to try to eventually get back to streaming, get back to doing a podcast. I'm just in the midst of moving, but when I have an actual spot I can stream and know that I won't be interrupted and stuff, then that will be the time where I get back to it. But I appreciate everybody coming out. It was a fun night, fun hangout. A lot of good stuff we talked about here. And hey, I'll probably just jump on every once in a while still and we'll just hang out. We'll talk about stuff going on in the news. But I appreciate everyone. Have a good night, and I'll catch